My name is Alexander Freund. I am the co-director of the Oral History Center at the University of Winnipeg. We founded the Oral History Center in 2012 to help people learn about doing oral history and to conduct a number of oral history projects. And we have a wide range of projects that have been going on. One of the major projects that we have been working on in the last 5 years is a history of refugees in Manitoba since 1945. And we conducted interviews with 3 distinct groups of refugees who have come to Winnipeg and to other places in Manitoba since the end of the Second World War. Second group were Latin American and especially Salvadoran refugees who came here during a very bloody civil war in El Salvador during the 1980s.
I started working with the Oral History Center about 3 years ago, and in the what was called the Salvadoran Voices of Manitoba project, which collect the experience of the Salvadoran refugees coming to Manitoba. I share a story about a friend of mine who disappeared during the war. This project became so more than I was expecting. It involved not just the production of the storytelling, but also it represented for me to contact the family of my friend who hadn't been in contact for 25 years. Sharing the story with them, it became a very emotional and powerful experience for many people.
And so in the case of the Salvadorans, we found that the best way that many of them could express themselves was in their native language, in Spanish. And so most of the interviews that we conducted were in Spanish, and they needed to be transcribed and translated. We believe that if we want to ensure that the interviews are still available in 100 or 200 years, that we need written transcripts of each interview.
While I was being interviewed, I started to remember some stories that I hadn't told my children. Start talking in Spanish about my father's garden back in El Salvador. I started remembering what this garden represented for my father and for the rest of the family. And it almost became a very powerful story that I decided to share with my children right after I got interviewed. So, and I believe that's a very common experience that had a lot of the participants too, being able to talk more easily with their members of the family about those experiences.
The campaign will allow the Modern Languages Department and the Oral History Center to work together to make the Salvadoran experience accessible to all. In order to do this, we will run 2 translation courses. In the spirit of collaboration, the University of Winnipeg's Department of Modern Languages and Literatures has adapted 2 courses that will not only provide students with hands-on transcribing and translating experience, but also help the Oral History Center complete this important project at a much more affordable cost. During first term, we will have an introduction to translation, and in second term, students will get to do the actual translation of the recordings of the Salvadorian Voices project. Another great thing about this project is that not only will students get the experience of doing a translation, but depending on the success of the crowdfunding, some or all of their tuition will be covered.
I would like to thank very much the Social Sciences and Humanities Research Council of Canada, which funded the project with $125,000 over 3 years. We are now asking for more support to transcribe and translate interviews with 20 Salvadoran refugees, and I thank you for making any kind of contribution to our goal. Thank you.